This is 12.4 of Algebra. So we're going to look at Box-and-Whisker plots, okay? And part of that is talking about quartiles. So quartiles are things that split it in data into 4 equal parts, okay? So you've got some numbers, right? You're going to have your median, which is your second quartile, okay? And that splits it into 2 pieces, right? And then you're going to have your first quartile, we'll probably label these, which splits up the first half. And then you have your third quartile, and that's what splits up the highest half, right? And then this stuff right here is called the interquartile range. Okay, so let's actually look at that with some numbers. So we're going to use this first bit of data, okay? First thing we need to do is we need to rewrite it in order. So my smallest number is 60. And then we've got 65. And then we've got 75, 75, 75. And then I've got 85, 85, 85. And then I've got 95, 100, and 105. So, could have used a little bit more room, that's okay. So, I've got all of this in order. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out where is my median, okay? So, I'm going to underline them so I don't cross them off. Okay, so here's my first one, here's my last one. First, last, first, last, first, last, first, last. Okay, so this is my median. So this is my quartile 2, okay? So this is what splits it in half, right? And then I've got to figure out where the first quartile is and where the third quartile is. So the first quartile is going to be the median of this stuff, okay? So first, last, first, last. This right here is my first quartile. Okay, and then same thing over here. First, last, first, last. This right here is my quartile 3. Okay, and so here's the different things they want. So we got the first quartile, your second quartile, which you can call your median as well, and your third quartile. And then this is my minimum, and this is my maximum. Yeah, you feel okay with that? Let's try another one that has an even number of data. So this had an odd number, and that's why we just got to point at one and point at one and point at one. So let's do the second set of data. So 5 is my smallest number, then 7, then 11, 19, 21, 53. Yep, that's all of it. So easy ones. This is my minimum. This is my maximum. So then I'm going to find my median, or my second quartile. So beginning, end, and I've got 2 here. So I need to, right in between there is going to be my second quartile / my median. And I need to figure out what that actual number is, though. So I need to find the average of these 2 numbers. So 11 plus 19 divided by 2. 11 plus 19, that gives us 30. 30 divided by 2 is 15. So my quartile 2 / median is 15. And then I need to, so this is where it's drawing the line, right? I need to find the median over here and the median over here. So beginning, end. So this is my quartile 1. If you had 2 pieces like we did before, or if you had 2 pieces just like we did here, right, you'd find the average. And then over here, beginning, end. So this is my quartile 3. So what a box and whisker plot does is it takes those numbers, okay, and it puts it into a picture, okay? So here's our box in the middle, okay? This is our interquartile range, right? And then here are our whiskers, our little outside guys. So this is where 25% of the data is. This is where 25% of the data is. This is where 25% of the data is. And this is where 25% of the data is. So it tells us where it's really stretched out. If it's stretched out, that means that the numbers aren't very close, right? And where it's really close. So it shows us how the data is spread out. Okay? So we're going to try to make our own box and whisker plot. They do it in the book. But we're just going to do it on our own. So here's our data. This is the monthly sales in millions of dollars of audio devices. So first thing we do is write them in order. So 4 goes first, then 8, then 9, then 10, then 14, then 15, 16, 16, 25, 34. So easy parts first. This is my minimum. This over here is my maximum. So those are the little dots at the end, okay? The ends of my whiskers. Then I need to find my median, right? So beginning, end, beginning, end, beginning, end, beginning, end. And I've got 2 in the middle, right? So this is where my quartile 2 is / my median. I need to find the average of that 14 plus 15 divided by 2. That's 29 divided by 2, which is 14.5. Okay, and then I'm going to figure out the median of this stuff, right? Everything on the left of it. So, maybe I'll switch colors here. Beginning, end, beginning, end. So this is my quartile 1. Same deal over here. Beginning, end, beginning, end. This is my quartile 3. Okay, so now I can put this into a box and whisker plot. You need to use a number line that goes up by a scale. Okay, so my smallest number was 4 and my biggest number was 34. So I'm going to sketch in my line. I'll make this 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Okay, so ideally if I could measure this out, I would. I want to be that exact, but in this case I can't. So I'm going to start by putting my minimum on there. So that's going to be a point. Okay, so that's about right there. My maximum is about right there. Okay. My quartile 1 is at 9, and that's going to be, this is where my box starts. So here's my whisker. My box starts at the quartile 1. So here, maybe I'll label these 2. So here's my quartile 1. And then quartile 3 is at 16. So that's about there. So there's my whisker. And our median was at 14.5. About there, how about? And then I draw on my box. So, not perfect, but close. So this is quartile 2 / median. This is my quartile 3, and this is my maximum over here. So, just by looking at this, let me tell you a few things that I see, okay? So, I'll use a color too. This is where 50% of the data is. So that stuff in the middle is really close together. This chunk is 1/4 of the data, so that's really spread out to cover that much distance. Okay, and this is my median, which is shifted to the left, right? It's not in the middle of this thing. So my data gets spread out over here, and that's what's shifting it. Okay, so we can actually look at box and whiskers and say something about them. So this first one is talking about the average monthly rainfall. And they're asking What do the interquartile ranges tell you about the average monthly rainfall? So remember, the box is the interquartile ranges. So those two boxes are what we're looking at. So Miami's is really spread out, right? Those are both covering 50% of their data. So that first one's really spread out, which means some month they have a small amount of rain, some month they have a lot of rain. It's really spread out. It's not consistent, right? Whereas New Orleans is really tight together, so it's pretty consistent. It's only between like 5 and 6 inches. So every month they get 5 to 6 inches of rain approximately, we can estimate. Whereas with Miami, you're ranging from almost 2 to a little over 7. So some months it might be 2 inches, some months it might be 7 inches, some months it might be 5 inches, some months it might be 3 inches, right? And then our Got It question says, what do the medians tell you about the average monthly rainfall for Miami and New Orleans? So here's our medians. So New Orleans has a higher median of average monthly rainfall. So on average, New Orleans is getting more rain than Miami is. And there's your homework.